Why you feel lost, the Toy Story lesson that nobody talks about. This is a weird one today, so you're going to have to bear with me, but I was just driving around at work thinking about, random stuff, cartoons, things like that. And one of my favorite movies of all time is Toy Story, and Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3. And as I was kind of mulling over these, I felt like there was like a parable in there. There was an analogy which I wanted to share with you that really does kind of speak into like one of the things that I think, and I keep coming back to, as being wrong with the world. Now, I'll explain that to you in a moment, but I need to do a little bit of groundwork. The first thing is, like, as humans, we have a design, right? We're designed for a purpose. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And then also in Colossians chapter 1, verse 16, for by him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him. So we were created for a purpose. The purpose was a perfect relationship with God. It was experienced one-on-one before the fall in the Garden of Eden, and then after the fall, and since then we've just been moving further and further and further away from God, away from the one that we was designed to be in fellowship with. At every step of the way, we're trying to put ourselves on the throne, aren't we? We're trying to make ourselves be the God of our own lives, but the problem is that we're not qualified. Absent God, we are literally just like we're adrift in the ocean. We don't really know what we're doing. We've done things in the past. They might have actually gone well for us. We might have had a limited amount of success, but we've convinced ourselves that worldly blessings like money and fame and power and sex and all of these kind of things, that's true success. And what we've done is we've shifted the focus of our design away from what it was meant to be and basically towards ourselves and self-exaltation. And then, having been through this situation where we have made ourselves into the ultimate captains of our ship, but no real idea where we're going, then we find ourselves in society with just like all of this anxiety. Everybody will talk to you about how depressed they are, how anxious they are, how they just feel like they don't have the tools in the tool bag to cope with what's coming. And that is because you simply are not designed to be in that leadership control of your life. You're designed to follow God. And that's how I came to think about the Toy Story analogy today. So weaving its way through those movies is this anxiety that the toys have about being left behind, don't they? The first one has got Woody, and he's really nervous because Buzz comes into the equation, and now there's less playtime potentially there for him with Andy, the son. And the toys, they're designed to be played with. A toy wants to be played with. It was designed to be played with, and when he starts feeling like he's going to have less playtime, the toy starts to feel anxious and nervous and desperate and so on. And then it moves into other ones, where the second one I think is where Buzz gets lost and we have to go and find him again. And in the third one, Andy's going off to university, isn't he? And the toys have eventually become redundant and their worst fears are being manifest. And so we find that when we have a design, when we have a purpose in our life, something that we was meant to do, and for one reason or another we either don't or can't achieve that designed purpose, all that can happen to us is bad. It's going to be sadness, it's going to be anxiety, it's going to be misery. But by the same token, and this is the encouragement, this is the amazing thing, that if we just recognize what our design is, what we was made to do and be and have in this life, as soon as we recognize what those things are, we can orientate ourselves towards that and aim towards it, and all of a sudden we're going to find the exact opposite of despair, the exact opposite of loneliness and anxiety and sadness, and it's deep joy. So that's my encouragement today, is that we could take a message from Woody and Buzz. We could say, hey, our design is to be in relationship with our maker, to be in relationship with God. He wants good things for us. He wants us to seek him and to know him and to find him, and then to live in right relationship, in submission to him. But his yoke is easy, his burden is light. And if we would just submit to him, to bow the knee to, the reign of Jesus, then basically we will find this deep joy and this peace that just transcends all understanding, and it is wonderful. And that peace and that joy is something that I want for myself, for my friends, for my family, and that's what kind of pushes me to talk about like my faith with other people. And I hope it would encourage you to basically be stronger in your faith, but also to share that with some other people. And because we could see the fruit of turning our back on God, and that is just the sadness that we find ourselves in the world. If you want to check out another realization that I had that really did change my relationship with God in a profound way, you can check that out by clicking right here. Until next time, take care of yourself. I'll see you later. Goodbye.